Hi, this is Susan. I'm going to work on a coal shuttle today and the little tool, and the ice too. I needed an ice scoop, so this is the coal scoop and the ice scoop. And I'm using cardboard. You saw this, so I'm just showing you the scoop that I made for it. This is in my last video where I'm showing you how to make the container and the ice. So we'll just set that back there. So we're really working on the coal shuttle and the tools and then some other things. So what you'll need is some cardboard. The cardboard I like is brown on both sides. And, you know, if you have to put, this had with cookies, and so I had to pull the plastic off. So I'm just putting this on the inside and painting it. Just get what you have. When you do the graphics, I think the graphics kind of makes it, on your cereal box and that, it kind of makes it crease. So you can try that. Okay, so I've taken a soda can, not advertising for anybody, and I took the top off, and I'm using my KitchenAid. I got these at a thrift store years ago, and they're just wonderful. If you don't have these, they cut cardboard, they cut metal, the soda, you know, I just use them a lot. So they have them at like Walmart or wherever. And so I cut the top of the can. You just poke a hole and then cut around. Get rid of that. Put it in your recycle. Keep your metal to use. Now, the bottom piece is the round disc, and the center is the piece that is the most sturdy to use. It's a small piece and you think you can't use it because it's like this shape, but I made these three right here from that. After I made several from the thinner, and I never get cut with the thinner, but you want to be careful when you're using this piece because it curls and it'll poke into you. So do be careful. Okay, so I made these large just to show you the gist. Okay, so and you can see I've drawn them out into the soda can, and I've taken the embossing tool and gone ahead and embossed them here. You know, you push this direction for the scoop part, and the back side you'll see the impression from your pen or your pencil. I did pencil first, and I went over it with black. And I saw the impression, so I went ahead and embossed the back side for the handle, because you want the handle to stick up. And you also are going to take wood glue that we use to make relief. I use the wood glue on this. Now, I spent a long time last night working on this, and then if you weren't moving it, it's just for show, it's fine. But look how this has wood glue on both sides, it has paint on both sides, and it's still super flexible, which is so odd. Now the base part, which has all that, is a little flexible, but because this is such a narrow piece, it's very flexible. I thought maybe it would harden up overnight, but it didn't. And of course, the longer, the more flexible. So there's two options. You can always put, toothpick. I've used this fancy toothpick. You could do this. And the other option is, like I said, to use the center part. And that's where I used on these three pieces. And it doesn't, I'm pushing, and it doesn't do it. So I made a scoop, I made a spoon, and another like scoopy spatula kind of. Okay, let me tell you all the things that I came up with that you could make. You can make any utensils, the way I made the spoon, like a big cooking spoon. And this spoon will work on this because it hasn't gotten. Okay, when you're cutting this out, so you just I did it broadly in the Sharpie marker. Just go ahead and cut the broad shape out just to get it out of the curve. and then you can start shaping it with your finger, and it's not hard to shape. I mean, you know, with your finger once you get it out of there. And I've used the titanium scissors. These scissors, I've used that on the thinner. That's no problem on the thinner part of the can. Okay, so you can, I was looking at all the things. You can make utensils, you can make the coal and ice scooper, you can make a pie server, a garden spade, you can make, you know, hand tools for a fireplace, you can make barbecue tools. So there's a lot of good use for this. And I did, you know, make a spoon, like a cooking spoon. I probably should have left it wood colored, but I was working with the silver, so that's how it ended up silver. But yeah, this is my pie server. So lots of, you know, interesting shapes and uses for all of these. Okay, so the thing I do once I finish cutting it out, you saw I shaped this a little, and I had already put a little curve into the spoon before I cut it out. I embossed it. Now this metal here is not going to emboss near as easily as this is. So the next thing to do is take your liquidy wood glue. Now my bottle's been out a while, so it's starting to get gummy. See how it's starting to get real tacky? And that tells me if I need to do reliefs, I need to go get another bottle so that I have a flowing relief instead of a gummy. Because, you know, every time you open this, it's getting air in it. And so I had it opened all last night doing several of these things. So it'll flatten out a little bit. Like if you try to use it in the inside of the piece down here, it will kind of come down, and you'll have to add more to the sides. But so I do the front side, I do the back side, let them dry, and then paint them. And it also smooths out any roughness in your cutting. And if you cut it just a little off, you know, you can always use the glue to make up for where you miscut. Okay, so let's look at, so you got that. So that's real simple. It's just picking out what you want to make. And I think you'll like making things like that. Now see, these were made out of the thinner, and they're just really flexible. But you see how many, I did a couple of different layers of the wood glue, so you can see how rounded it's become from the very flat metal. So this coal, let me tell you, the ice, you know, I cut and show you that in the last video I did. And this is something someone suggested to me, and this is rock. It's black, some kind of black rock that I got at Dollar Tree. And they also suggested to use it into the fire of the fireplace, and then maybe paint some of these orange, and then they would be like burning embers. And so those were all great tips. So this is just in the Dollar Tree section over there where the frames and the glass and yarn, I think there's some wreath forms, that section. Okay, so the piece of cardboard, it's again a smaller smile than we did the tubs. If you've been following me, we did this tub with water. So that was a 6-inch. Now this is just the starting shape, and I'm going to tell you the couple of things you want to keep in mind. And I found that this might be a little tall. This one, I was practicing, this part is the tricky part right here, is to get this to come out. Now, if you notice, this one tips. See, this one's just kind of straight, and this one tips forward more, and the whole shuttle tips. And I think that's more correct, but that's a personal choice for you. So the reason how you would do that is go in and cut this bottom tipping a little bit before you put the base on. So see how it tips forward compared. And then I did this one using index card. I thought I try, because it's so flexible, I thought if I tried an index card I could use the wood glue on the inside and outside before I did the paint on the inside outside. And it did get a little more sturdy, but it still did a little bit of creasing, so that didn't save me from this crease, but it got a little sturdier, and then when you put rock in it, it'll be plenty sturdy. So if all you have is index card, you could try 2 layers, but you're going to need to do the 2 layers of wood glue painted on inside outside, and then your silver. And the paint I'm using is this Deco Art metallic silver that I got at Dollar Tree, but I haven't seen it there. You'll need to get it at a craft store because I haven't seen it again. I just haven't gotten a shipment. And then I distress it with just dry brushing the black on, just very, very faint. And so you can see how this one tips back. I'm going to take the bottom off and go ahead and tip it forward because I think that's the correct positioning. I think this one turned out the best as far as the scoop and the everything, the pouring spout or whatever you call that. So start with this. It is 5 1/4 from the larger point to larger point. This is a smile, and it's 4 inches on the top. Now this is just your starting template, and 1 3/8 width, and I've marked it. You can see now we turn it this way to. Now you need to go and and like do this number. Oh, I think I did it both ways. You need to go and do the curve to try to keep it from. My piece did this because I was busy writing this on there and I didn't do this, trying to get a curve in it. Okay, so and so I accidentally flattened it. Okay, so be really careful when you put these pieces together that you don't flatten this in there. Keep your hand there, holding it, round it out. Now, here's the spout right here, and this is the taper down, and you can come at an angle if you choose to. You can angle that more to get that angle there. Any places you have openings, you can tuck a little piece. I'll show you just the next. Okay, so we draw the spout and then the bottom of the shuttle. So you want to cut that out. Cut them both out. This is giving you the seam to fold, the fold line. So we're going to cut this out. And like I said, this is your starting point. I'm using those KitchenAids that I say are so good. Now I'm going to go ahead and tip this a little bit, and then I'm going to cut both right through there because this needs to fold and this needs to go over. So I have this piece already. I've folded the little pieces in. And you can see there's the top piece. And I cut on this one after I dry fit it. You want to dry fit it. Be really careful about your curve back here. Don't flatten your curve. This one side, I left it full. And I'm gluing that behind the other side that I cut it off at an angle. You're cutting it at the angle that you want. See how this... You can manipulate that, how much you put under for gluing to get your spout. So start with, I'm using tacky glue for the paper, but I think you could use whatever gummy glue. This is the end of a bottle, so it's pretty gummy. You could use your 3-in-1 or Fabricating, whichever works for you. Okay, so you're going to have to turn those to one side and clip them to get it. Now, see where there's a seam? I'm going to put wood glue in there before I paint it silver and try to fill in any gaps. Any gaps that I get, I'll just try to fill in with the wood glue. It's not perfect. You know how that works. It's not a perfect pattern. I spent a lot of time just trying to get the angles that we needed, and then going from there. And so see, we've got the angle that we need back here. We've got an angle here, and this, once this dries, I wait till this dries before I start manipulating this up here, or else it just pulls this apart. So you want to do that. But you see how it's setting up, and now when this is dry, when this is caught real good, then you start working with how much you want to spread this piece that's behind it. This piece behind, you want to spread it to give you the most amount of the spout, and then trim off anything. And at this point, you need to let that set up and cut yourself like an egg shape. And let's see, this is about 1 inch across, and you'll want to go with what fits. This is 1.5. It's a little over 1.5, and it's an egg shape, kind of a point there. Okay, so let's look at this. So it might be bigger than you need, and you'll trim it away after the glue sets on it. But this is what I'm starting with because it's what fits this pattern. But if you want to make this smaller, you can work at making the pattern smaller. It's just a starting place. So see that much difference. It's just a starting place. And I just worked it, at changing. Okay, so you'll need a handle. So take 2 strips, however big you want, and curl each one of them. Go curl them separately before you glue them together, because the inside will be longer. It'll hang out from the ends. And so you want to glue those together and keep pulling them with your nail to get them curved. And so there you are. So at this point, when this is good and set, then we glue the top part. Let me grab where to put some glue in there. Oops. Oh, I really got glue. I was using my 3-in-1 again. It just started overflowing. I hate that. When it gets to the end of the bottle, it just overflows. Just everywhere. It just, I don't know, I guess it gets air behind it or something, but it just overflows. Okay, so put your glue, where, if it's okay to have the glue there because it's kind of filling in your seam. And I put wood glue into the seam, and I smeared it out with the paintbrush to try to, okay, so pull it out as much as you want. You might want to wait to cut this side till you get it just how you want it. Okay, so there is that section. And I had, on this one, I had a little separation. So here's a little trick. is take a little piece of cardstock, like this is the index card, and fold it over, and then you can glue this in right in here. You can glue it in to help fill any gap. If yours ends up having a gap, just tuck that in and that'll help. And then you can put wood glue into the gap. Just, put your wood glue in there and nobody will know the difference. Okay, so once this sets up, then put your foot on, or first decide, cut the bottom, cut off of the bottom if you want it to tip. You can cut around the top and make it smaller. You could do this a little, if you think this one's too large. This is from, let's see, this is from this pattern. If you think this is too large for you, then start out with a smaller piece. This one runs just under 2 inches. It's about 1 3/4, and then just the shuttle itself is a little bit over 1 1/4. And I kind of think it's a little large. I'm liking the index card one size a little bit better. So you decide. I know they're even smaller than this, the ones they sell. So you decide what's right for you and for your project. I have a big fireplace in a castle, and so I needed, something that shows up. So it might be a little large, but it's going to show up. Okay, so then once you get to the point of having the bottom on, then you go around like we did, the same thing we did here, making the tubs. You go around with your wood glue, and you dot it in to begin with, and try to use newer wood glue. Dot, 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 dot around. And then the second one, you kind of flow and fill in. It gives, when you're dotting it, it gives it space to catch it the second time. And then the third time is kind of filling in anything that looked like it. But you got to stop your drips before they dry. So anything that's starting to look like a drip, catch it with a toothpick. Use your toothpick to, scrape it back off. Because if you have any kind of air going, it'll dry it'll get that skim coat really fast and dry on it. So you don't want that to happen. So then the next thing is paint the inside. And I also put wood glue down here to look like the weld, where it's welded. I put a little bit of wood glue bead around the bottom and smeared it over onto the cardboard just to kind of smooth the cardboard. And then you're ready to paint. You can put the handle on, and if you can paint it without the handle or put the handle on, whichever works easier for you, because you can hold the handle while you're painting. So maybe put the handle on, and there you go. Do a couple of coats, and then distress it with the black, and you have a wonderful little coal shuttle. And if you get the rock, then from Dollar Tree, then you have a wonderful little setup. Now you could put foil in the bottom if you don't want to put too much rock in. You can put a piece of foil, wad it up, and then put the rock on top of it. But I think it turned out pretty good. And this is really fun to make all these little utensils. I was up to really late trying to figure out what to do about it being so flexible, and then I started in on the centerpiece, and I thought, well, it's curved, but I can work with that. And so it worked. So then I made some more, and so I've got to finish those with putting the wood glue to build up the handle to have it shapely, because we definitely want a shapely handle. And it was the spoon, I guess. So it's drying. So you see, it starts getting clear around the edges, and so don't. So work on both projects or other things. Don't paint this until the wood glue is good and dry. So that's it. So if you like this kind of content, I hope you do, and I hope you'll please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, because I just love making things from trash, plastics, and paper, and can. Now we've added can to the list, and I appreciate you coming and viewing, and I so appreciate you subscribers and their comments. They're so helpful, and I just love that our community is sharing. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.